Welcome to Holistic Health Net, where we strive for a healthy DC. This show explores different alternative health practices for all ages in different places throughout the DC area. On today's episode, we will be talking about herbal and non-traditional medicines. Smile Herb Shop in College Park offers herbs, plants to start your own gardens with fewer side effects and added health benefits.
So we've been around since the 1970s, about 35 years, and we sell medicinal herbs, vitamins, supplements, culinary herbs and spices, and medicine-making supply. Conventional medicine does a great job in terms of emergency medical care, very serious acute disease. Herbs really shine when it comes to managing chronic conditions, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, stress, anxiety, depression, things that modern medicine and conventional medicine, they're searching for the magic bullet, but they don't really have the ability to change these things long term. They're masking symptoms versus herbs. We can actually change the physiology of the body so that those conditions either become more livable or disappear entirely. What makes us unique here at Smile Herb Shop is that we have 6 professional herbalists on staff. So not only do we sell the herbs and the vitamins and the supplements, we have herbalists who know how to fit the right remedy to the person who comes in, which really separates us from other natural living stores in the area. We see clients here for consults, and we really coach people not just in how to take herbs, but how to, what I call partner with the herbs, which is how to change our lifestyle and our diet and our way of being to help the herbs help us. And that's a really unique therapeutic option that we offer here that you really can't find anywhere else. One thing that I work a lot with, I'm really focusing my practice on women's health. So I treat a lot of women for fibroids, and that's really not something conventional medicine can deal with very well. It's usually surgical removal of the fibroids. So there's a lot that herbs can do to really slow the growth of fibroids, if not shrink them. So that's something I work with a lot, using herbs to cleanse the blood, cleanse the liver, and help tone the female reproductive tract. So one reason I'm drawn to herbal medicine for the female body is that in my perspective, modern medicine has really done a lot to harm the female body and not much to support it. And herbs are a female craft. You know, they can really do wonders for the female body, and that's what I try to focus my practice on.
Welcome back. I'm joined here with Betsy Castillo, an herbalist from Smile Herb. Hello, Betsy. Can you tell me a little bit more about your practice?
Sure. I'm a clinical herbalist, so I see clients in a clinical setting, meaning we have long consults, not just coming in to purchase an herb, but I really get to the root of the condition that the person is dealing with and talk about their symptoms, and then also try to assess any underlying pattern that might be causing multiple symptoms that really requires one specific approach or one specific treatment using herbal medicines.
Other than maybe treating something more serious of an illness, is there any kind of like normal remedies that people can come in and get herbs for?
Absolutely. We're just coming to the tail end of the cold and flu season, so we've had a lot of people coming in for remedies for colds and flus, and that's one thing that herbs are wonderful for. A lot of people go to the Giant and get Tylenol PM or Tylenol cold and flu and don't really realize that they have so many remedies at their fingertips, especially in their kitchen. Things like garlic. Garlic is incredibly antimicrobial, antibacterial, and it does wonders for a really deep-seated respiratory infection that can happen with the cold or the flu. Thyme, anything with volatile essential oils, can really help expel a cold or a flu and give a lot of assistance to the respiratory tract. Turmeric is wonderful as an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and can really do a lot to help boost your immune system while you're going through something like a cold or a flu.
Right. I know that you have a huge garden back behind your shop for people to start their own gardens. What kind of things do people usually get started on? What are like some healthy things that people can just go and buy and kind of start doing this at home?
We have so many tomatoes right now. We probably have 600 tomatoes out there. And tomatoes are a great source of lycopene. We have heirloom tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of the things that are really important to get organic and grow yourself, because when you go to the supermarket, a lot of those have been heavily sprayed with pesticides. So we have tomatoes, we have salad greens, we have culinary herbs and spices like basil, oregano, thyme. We have herbs that you can make your own teas with, like holy basil, which is wonderful for stress. So there's a lot that we have. We also are focusing on native species, so medicinal herbs that are native to our bioregion that are also endangered. So we have American ginseng, golden seal, black cohosh, wild ginger, things that are really starting to disappear that we're trying to help restore and bring back in our environment.
Well, I know there's a huge push to buy more locally. I mean, you get most of your herbs like grown decently, close to this area, correct?
As much as we can. We do have to outsource for some herbs that just don't grow in our climate, but we do make a point to only source organic and when we can wildcrafted, which means they weren't grown on a farm, they were actually picked from nature, and those are the plants that most herbalists will agree have the strongest medicine as well.
All right, well, we have a guest here to ask you a question. So, Julia, you said you had something?
Yes, so like a lot of women, I suffer from pretty bad PMS.
Okay.
And specifically like premenstrual cramps. And
Okay.
I've tried a lot of the conventional methods and haven't really had much success. So I was wondering if there was anything that you could suggest that I should try.
Absolutely. So PMS is pretty common, and it does usually occur in several forms. There's PMS with anxiety, PMS with depression, PMS with bloating and weight gain, and then there's extreme cramps. So one of the base formulas that I usually use for most of my clients is an herb we have called Chaste Tree. And what Chaste Tree does is it helps balance your hormones. It works on FSH, LH, estrogen, and progesterone to help just bring your fluctuating hormones into a more stable balance. So that's a really good foundation formula. So then for the pain, if it's ovarian pain, we have an herb called blue cohosh, which is very specific for ovarian pain related to menstruation. And then we also have things like black cohosh, shepherd's purse, raspberry leaf, things that we use to tone the reproductive tract. Do you have sharp spastic pain, or is it more like dull, achy pain?
It's more like the dull, all day long, never ending pain.
Okay. So dull pain usually means there's a congested menstrual pattern. So we would want to choose herbs that are going to help bring circulation to your reproductive area. So things like mugwort, things like fresh ginger, anything that's going to stimulate blood flow in the area will help relieve congested cramps. Heat topically is also really good for that.
Yeah.
And then the last part of the protocol is usually working with the liver.
Okay.
The liver is the organ responsible for helping to clear and pass all your hormones. So things like dandelion root, burdock, yellow dock, anything that will help support the liver is also going to really help with that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Things I never knew, so thank you.
You're welcome.
So how do you take these herbs?
So there's four main ways of taking herbs. First is pill or capsule form, and those are easiest for patients who are very sensitive to taste. Some of our herbs do not taste very good, so those I usually like to give in pills. Another way is tincture, and tinctures are the alcoholic extract of the plant. So it's prepared by letting either the fresh or the dried herbs soak in alcohol for a minimum of 4 weeks, and then all the medicine is absorbed into the alcohol, and those you take by the drop or by the milliliter, usually like anywhere from 1 to up to 10 milliliters a day, depending on the herb. Then there's powder form. Powder is my favorite. We use powder for most of the root herbs that we use. Something like turmeric is a root, or dandelion root. So those roots can be dried and then powdered. And my favorite recipe for the powders are mixing the powder with a nut butter. So something like almond butter or peanut butter, honey, cocoa powder. You mix it all together until it's a consistency that you can roll into little balls, and then you can roll those in coconut flakes. And it's a delicious way to take your herbs, and it doesn't even really feel like taking medicine. It's more of like a snack. So and then we have teas, of course. And teas are amazing medicine. They're really great for our leaves and our flowers. So something like chamomile, which most people are familiar with, is really good in a tea form. And then, so teas can either be done as an infusion, which is where you pour boiling water over the herbs and just let them sit for 15 to 20 minutes. Or you can prepare them as a decoction. And a decoction we use for barks, roots, and berries that the medicine is in a hard surface, so we have to extract it. And a decoction is where you let the herbs simmer on the stove for 15 to 20 minutes. So teas I usually try to do with the nicer tasting herbs, because those are something you have to sip and drink slowly. Tinctures I like because being an alcoholic extract, the medicine just gets absorbed into your bloodstream that much faster. And then powders are usually used for people who need a lot of building, and because they're actually ingesting the whole herb itself. So there's a lot of options for how to get herbs into your body.
Well, thank you so much, Betsy. That's a lot of information for our guests at home. Thank you so much for coming to the Holistic Health Nut. Thank you for watching the Holistic Health Nut. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at DC_HealthNut and on Facebook.com/Holistic Health Nut. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.